Hello and welcome to News Now. I'm your host, Taylor Inman. We're going over the week's biggest headlines for Northwest Montana. Glacier Park International Airport will significantly limit operations for 4 weeks in July of 2026 for runway repairs. Airport Director Rob Rakowski said the exact hours have not been pinned down yet, but expects the airport to only open Fridays at noon through Mondays at 6 p.m. from July 6 to July 31st in 2026. Hours of operation are normal this summer. The runway asphalt was last resurfaced 16 years ago and has started to show signs of stress and age, said Rakowski. Airfield pavement's typical lifespan is 15 to 20 years. When it was last resurfaced in 2009, the airport adopted similarly limited hours throughout August and saw a 35% reduction in passengers, according to Rakowski. Rakowski said that it can be difficult to forecast how airlines will respond to the upcoming closure, but said ticket prices may be affected. He said they will also encourage air carriers to increase their flights over the weekends, adding that they will know more about their response about that later this year. Rakowski said, quote, "There will be some impact, and we're aware of that. And it's unfortunate, but we're making decisions that are ultimately in the best interest of the community, even if they are difficult decisions to make," end quote. The airport is limited to repaving during peak tourist season due to the Federal Aviation Administration. Federal regulations stipulate that during repaving, the outside temperature cannot drop below 50 degrees, and there can be little to no rain. Looking at weather data over the past 2 decades, Rakowski said that July was the best window of opportunity. September or May didn't have consistent enough weather, which risks prolonging the project, he said. The repairs will be conducted in 4 phases over 4 weeks. The runway used by private aircraft, air ambulances, and delivery aircraft will remain open for 3 out of the 4 phases. Rakowski said that several alternatives were explored and, quote, none of them were super great. He said they pondered closing the airport completely for 20 days or shortening the runway by a third, which would have severely limited operations. The airport is also in the middle of a terminal expansion project, which has seen the construction of 3 new boarding gates, a restaurant, a concession stand, and escalators. The airport celebrated the opening of its new central area on Tuesday. Prosecutors last week charged the surviving motorist of a deadly and allegedly alcohol-fueled New Year's Day wreck near Bigfork with vehicular homicide while under the influence. 31-year-old Kayla R. Knaus is expected to appear before Judge Dan Wilson in Flathead County District Court on July 10th for her arraignment on the felony charge. Booked into the county jail on June 19th, Knaus remains behind bars with bail set at $250,000. Authorities descended upon the site of the wreck near the intersection of Montana 35 and Holt Drive at about 1:25 a.m. on January 1st, according to court documents. They found a dead woman behind the wheel of a heavily damaged red Kia Rio, which was left on its driver's side roughly 10 feet west of the highway. Knaus, who was behind the wheel of a Subaru Forester, was conscious and allegedly belligerent. A toxicology sample taken from Knaus at a hospital later showed her blood alcohol content at .188, or more than twice the legal limit, according to court documents. She also allegedly tested positive for a cough suppressant, an antidepressant, and an antihistamine sleep aid. Investigators later determined that Knaus' Subaru was heading northbound on Montana 35 when she allegedly crossed the center line and headed into the southbound lane where it struck the Kia. The crash sent the Subaru spinning counterclockwise and later off the road, according to court documents. The Kia continued south after the collision before running off the west side of the road and rolling. The Kia's driver died of blunt force trauma from the wreck, according to court documents. If convicted, Knaus faces up to 30 years in Montana State Prison and a fine of $50,000. The Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes are advising all tribal members to avoid consuming all species and sizes of fish, harvested from the lower Clark Fork River from the Bitterroot River near Missoula to the Flathead River near Paradise. Recent testing has confirmed the presence of PCBs, dioxins, and furans in fish at levels that are unsafe for consumption by tribal peoples, according to a press release sent on Tuesday. Tom McDonald, CSKT Council Vice Chair, said this is a precaution rooted in science and that their responsibility is to protect tribal health and well-being. Tribal officials also advised members to avoid consuming rainbow trout and northern pike harvested from the Bitterroot River and upper Clark Fork River above the Bitterroot River to Rock Creek, and to avoid consuming rainbow trout from the Blackfoot River. The press release said that PCBs, dioxins, and furans build up in fish tissue over time through water sediment in the aquatic food web. These contaminants pose a health risk to all fish consumers and an even greater health risk to the most sensitive members of the tribal population, including women of childbearing age, pregnant nursing women, and young children. These contaminants have been linked to negative health effects in the immune and nervous systems and may be associated with birth defects. Dietary exposure to PCBs is linked to development problems in children whose mothers were exposed to PCBs before becoming pregnant. PCBs and dioxins are classified as probable and definite human carcinogens, respectively. Dietary practices are the most important source of exposure to PCBs, dioxins, and furans. CSKT said it is aware that avoiding the consumption of fish from these water bodies reduces opportunities for tribal members to exercise off-reservation fishing rights. The tribes will continue to work to maintain the rivers and fisheries within the CSKT Aboriginal Territory where they are healthy and restore the rivers and fisheries where they are harmed. This advisory is indefinite and will remain in place until further notice. And a quick pat on the back for ourselves. The Daily Interlake was named the state's best daily newspaper for the second consecutive year, after earning top honors across a range of categories in the annual statewide newspaper contest. From vital political coverage to innovative digital content and standout visuals, the Interlake team brought home more than 40 awards for journalism and advertising. See more of this year's results at dailyinterlake.com. Thanks for joining us. News Now is a podcast from the Daily Interlake. We're proud to be the largest independent newsroom in Montana and the longest continuously published newspaper in the region. Today's stories are written by Daily Interlake news editor Derek Perkins and reporter Jack Underhill, as well as a report from the Daily Montanan. If you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode of the pod. Everybody stay safe and have a great week. Thanks to our sponsor, Lauren's Auto Repair at 1309 U.S. Highway 2 in Kalispell. Most consistently rated 5-star shop serving the Kalispell area. Visit lawrensauto.com.